And we are back on the build phase. I'm your host, Mr. Ben, and this is going to be kind of a short stream. I just got done doing like a half an hour on the new card spoilers, but I want to have kind of a one-stop shop to answer all the questions surrounding Build Phase League Season 8. So for BPL 8, the rulebook will be linked in the notes down below, as well as the signups, and the signups have links to everything. So there's going to be links to everything I talk about in the description of the video, as well as all of these items kind of cross-link each other. If you look at the signups, you'll have a link to the rulebook. If you look at the rulebook, you'll have a link to the signups, and so on. So to dive into it, a lot of what we're doing is the same. Build Phase League play has always been about letting people in geographically remote regions play games with each other, hang out, get some verses in. None of that has changed. Now, COVID has presented a whole bunch. There's a lot more attention and a lot more participation in online events now, and that's led to us to having some innovations as we go. So with regard to that, we're trying a few new things in this new season. This is going to be a single elimination event. There will be no loser bracket. One loss, you're out. That's it. So because of that, we're also avoiding any kind of qualifier matches. The dead-end matches won't happen, so sign up right away. As of right now, we currently have 9 people signed up already. So if the event fired right now, the last person who signed up would be left out in the cold, because we're going to go 8, we're going to go 16, we're going to go 32. I cannot imagine we end up going 64. So at such point that we get 32 signups, I'm just going to close it. Unless, I mean, if we could get 64, that would be amazing, but I am not counting on that. So that's one of the things we're doing. There will be no Swiss rounds. This is going to be a fairly fast event. We are doing this in the modern card pool. Now, I don't control the modern card pool. The Modern Council does, and I know at some point they're going to meet and talk about updating the ban list for modern. However, given that Civil War has now been delayed until June, I think it's unlikely that we're going to get a modern update in any kind of way that would be impactful for this event. Speaking along those lines, because Civil War is not coming out until June, it means you won't be able to know what the cards are that are in that box on the 28th when this event fires. So Civil War is, unfortunately, not going to be legal for this event as far as main character choices. At such time that it actually comes out, we'll make a ruling as to whether the supporting characters and plot twists and stuff can be included in your decks. I'm of the mind that once the set is out, I'd like to be able to get new cards. Like, playing with new cards is fun. I understand. Like, if you have to be in an event where you don't get to play with new cards, that's less fun. So I would like to do that. I'm not going to promise that the day Civil War comes out, it will be legal for this event. We'll have to see what phase of the tournament we're in then and what the contents of Civil War are as, and we'll make a decision at that point. Just know that for me, I'm always like a more cards is better kind of guy. So we are also, I already mentioned the elimination format. We are also going to use the team ranking system that the ranking system that Team Buckeye has created and is going to be maintaining. If you have questions about how that's going to work, there's a link, again, in the rule book, as well as a link on the sign-up sheet, as well as I think they've posted it as well in connection with the event that Team Buckeye is going to run, which is popping off here soon. I think that's in the Deep Six format, main character draft. Sounds fun. I should have had all my notes here to give the details, but this is about BPL 8. So the big things that I wanted to hit on is how the ranking system is going to work. So if you want to get in on this event, but you're not sure, I don't know, tying it to a number, that seems stressful, there's pressure, that's fine. On the sign-up sheet, you can choose to opt out of being ranked. And the way the Buckeye guys are going to handle that is when a ranked player plays an unranked player in a sanctioned event, they will simply have kind of a stand-in player ranking that will the participating player will play against. So my understanding of how the rank system is going to work is it's going to be kind of like chess, where every matchup, one player is going to take rank points from the other. The higher ranked player will get fewer ranked points from the lower ranked player. In the event of a draw, the lower ranked player will get a small number of points from the higher ranked player. So like an ELO system, I think I am not in charge of it, and I don't want to be, and I'm really glad another team decided to do this, because I would love to have a ranking system. For years I've wanted to have a ranking system. It's just one more thing to do, and I have too much to do already. So I'm really excited about the ranks. I would strongly encourage people to participate and do it. If only a handful of people are being ranked, it doesn't really mean anything. It's not going to be. The more people we get into the system, the more fun the rank system is going to be. So as long as these guys are doing it and they want to open it up to other TOs to be able to have their events be ranked, I want to do that for build phase going forward. But as in all things, we learn as we go. So for somebody who goes, I have not played in any previous events, I don't know that I would be ready. This is the extent of the sign-up sheet. Here, let's make it so that it's a preview. So not my editing one. This is the way the sign-up sheet looks. We have more or less all the information that I'm talking about here kind of laid out. And then you give us your name, your Discord, your Facebook, your name as it appears on Facebook. I know that's not always the same as your name for some people. Your email. Probably we will not be emailing anybody anything. Generally, we try to handle things through Discord and through the Discord group. You should definitely join our Discord group. I need to add the server link to the signups, and that's one thing I forgot to do. And down here at the very bottom is where you can determine. Oh, I can't scroll it far enough because of how I have my screen. I assure you, there's another blank at the bottom of this window. There we go. That will let you decide if you want to be ranked or not. So go ahead and hopefully check that box. I would really like for everybody to participate in the rank system. But if you're not into it, I totally understand. It does add another layer of pressure. So now to get into how things are actually going to be played. I've had a few things asked already, and I want to cover those in this stream. First of all, we are going to be doing a special cut similar to what was used really, I think since Quarantine Cup 2 Top 8 is when the first advent of the special cut came up. For anybody who's not familiar with the special cut, you shuffle your deck, and then normally that's when you would present your deck to your opponent. Since we're playing online, obviously your opponent cannot cut your deck for you. So you shuffle your cards, and then you do what I call the big cut. And I always say to my opponent, all right, I'm doing a cut for you, because that's representative of how your opponent would interact with your deck at an in-person event. I like to say that out loud. Anytime I interact with my deck on camera in an online event, I try to say out loud what it is I'm doing. Okay, I'm drawing for turn. All right, I'm going to shuffle. I'm going to look for this card. I'm shuffling my deck. I'm doing this cut to represent you. Just to make it, yes, I probably shouldn't have to do that. Yes, that's a little bit annoying to announce things that your opponent can see what you're doing. But when we're playing in an online environment, the chances of somebody making a mistake, something slipping by somebody, the chances of things not working out exactly the way you want them to are higher, and nobody wants to be accused of cheating. So if you go to do a game effect and your opponent doesn't realize what you're doing, hey, why is your deck like that? Just say it out loud. That's how I protect myself. So back to the cut rule. You do your big cut to represent your opponent cutting your deck, and then you take, what I like to use is 1d6 each. I think for Quarantine Cup 3, the recommended number was 2d6, but I mean, putting 12 cards on the bottom of the deck can be time consuming. I also used a d20, I think, in QC2, and that's like, you roll an 18, and how much time are you burning just putting cards on the bottom of the deck? It takes forever. I'm not a fan of it, but whatever you and your opponent agree on, whether it's rolling a single d6, rolling 2d6, I don't care. I recommend rolling 1d6. So you shuffle your cards, you do the big cut representing your opponent cutting your deck, and then you take whatever dice face you and your opponent agree on. I say a d6, you roll it, you get a 4, you take the top 4 cards off your deck, put them onto the bottom of your deck, then you draw your opening hand. Anytime you shuffle your deck, anytime you have to go into your deck to search, anytime something triggers to where your deck needs to be randomized, after you shuffle, do the big cut, you need to then roll a dice and do the special cut rule, as we've been calling it. This needs to happen every time. If you and your opponent are like, whatever, I'll leave it at the players if you feel like the benefit of this is I think you should use it. I'm putting it in the rules that you should use it. This not only protects you from the opponent cheating, but it protects you from the opponent accusing you of cheating. So I really recommend using this, because I do not want to deal with the kind of headaches of people feeling like a deck was stacked. So that deals with that. Moving on to the ban process. So it was pointed out to us that the ban process could be gamed for one player to find some advantage. If I'm playing you and I tell you I want to ban your second main character, you now know exactly which two you have when you're making the decision what to ban on my roster, which gives you a slight advantage. The way we have set it up to mitigate will need to be submitted through Joe Vitelli, Team Build Phase member, other TO of this event. You will have to message Joe with what your ban is, and then once Joe has both players' bans in, he will tell both players what their roster, what on their roster they have banned. Do not be disrespectful of anybody's time in this capacity. Like, you need to get your ban in so Joe can give it to them and build their deck. When pairings are posted, look at your opponent's deck, look at your opponent's roster rather, figure out what you want to ban and get that ban submitted. Now, I originally said you have to submit the ban at the time that you're scheduling the game, but it was pointed out that system could be gamed by one player or the other to get advantage. I didn't want to allow that. The new system is you have to submit your ban through Joe. Do it right away. Like, when pairings go up Friday, try to have your ban in Friday. Don't waste time here, because games, I mean, your entire tournament fate can be decided by you not getting your ban in a timely fashion, not scheduling in a timely fashion. If one player is trying hard to make this game happen and the other player isn't, the player who's trying is going to get the win, even if the game doesn't happen. So, like, let's all be respectful of each other's time. We're all trying to make this run as smooth as we can. But every time information has to transfer from one person to another person, there's a chance that it could get bogged down. So that's the ban process. Next, I want to talk about the main character reveal. So this needs to be done in a specific way. There are rules in the game for how main characters are revealed. However, a lot of us are pretty lackadaisical in the exact sequencing of it. I mean, I myself often will only put the level 1 main character in play and then flip it and start playing. And I have my level up versions off to the side. We cannot do that in this event. There is a world in which someone could put 2 face down cards on their playmat, let their opponent reveal their main character first, and then they flip over the one of those 2 cards that is the main character that they want to play for that specific matchup. I'm not having any of that crap. So when you sit down to play, you need to take your main character. This means all cards that go with that main character, level 1, 2, 3, whatever, all of them need to be face down on the table next to your deck in the frame of the camera. Once both players are ready, you're going to reveal your main character, and you need to reveal all levels. The complete main character needs to be there. This is, again, to protect players against somebody trying to game the system and have both players on their, or both main characters on their roster ready to go and trying to pull a fast one on somebody. Don't be a jerk. Like, don't be evil. This is for fun. We're all trying to have a fun, fair. If you want to beat somebody, if you want to get advantage over somebody, do it by building a better deck, not by being a nincompoop off the playmats. So, in order to prevent that from happening, the only way we can see how to do it is both main characters have to be revealed at the same time, and they need to be revealed in their totality. I want you to be able to see your opponent's front and back side of that main character, see the sleeve that it's in, so you know exactly what they're playing. Okay. Along those same lines, the deck also needs to be put in the camera, in the frame of the camera, ready to go, and needs to not leave the frame of the camera from that point forward. You sit down, you're ready, you're going to play, reveal all, like, your deck's there. Like, this is how we're going to do it. So do it that way. I think that more or less covers everything that I had in my notes, and I don't see any questions in the chat. So we're going to leave... I think we're going to leave it there. If there are additional questions, like the ranking system, if you have questions about that, you can find that is linked in the show notes. If you are looking for the signups, all this stuff is linked in the show notes. And you can reach out to myself or Joe Vitelli